Okay guys, so today we are going to be discussing the template of a person who I like to describe as the Fed friend. Okay, for various reasons. One of the reasons is because this person is literally like a federal agent. They literally live and operate their life as if they have been hired to follow you around, to find out personal and private information about you, and either to share this information or to draw attention to you in a way that people begin to gather their own information or form their own biases about you. And the reason I specifically directed this video towards people who have suffered childhood trauma and been through childhood abuse is because they're usually people who have lower boundaries, and they're usually people who are more accepting of a wide variety of people regardless of any issues or doubts that they may have about this person. People who have been through childhood trauma are more likely to overlook certain red flags or even amber flags that other people would use to send them flying. So basically, a Fed friend is somebody who they allow very private or very sacred information about you to be leaked out. So one of the ways they do this, and one of the ways that you can recognize a Fed friend, is they want to know everything about you. They want to know every single detail of your life, and they usually want to know everything about you from very early on. So when you first meet these people, or when you first begin to hang out together or get to know each other, and they usually, set the stage for this by telling you everything about them very early on. It's like word vomit. Within the first day of meeting them, you may discover that you know all about their family history, you know all about their family trauma, you know all about their deepest, darkest secrets, and it is a bit like, whoa, okay. So basically, this is done to set the stage for you. It's an opening, basically. They're inviting you to be just as comfortable with selling your information to a complete stranger, basically, as they are. And usually, if you're not very well versed in what's happening, you will take their openness as an opportunity for you to be open yourself. You may even think or feel, wow, I'm so lucky. I have found somebody who's so transparent, and I have found somebody who is not like the rest of society right now. They're not closed off, and they are operating from a soul level or from an authentic level. So be very careful of that, because there is a difference between authenticity and a Fed friend, somebody who's just like, I'm laying it all on the table because I don't care about my personal security enough, and I don't care about my personal safety enough. So here you go, here's everything. And yeah, this will be an opening. If you do take it and you do start divulging really personal information to them, and you do tell them about everything that you've been through and deepest traumas that you haven't told anyone for years, what happens is this person tends to store this information, and they keep it like tucked away or hidden away as data. And you may even think that this person has forgot what you've told them, or they don't really care, or this information is not really going to be valuable to them. But you will be surprised a little later in the friendship when you find out that they're bringing certain information back up. Or now they're reminding you of certain things that you told them in the very beginning, and some things you'll even be like, huh? When did I tell you that? Or how did you know that? Because you yourself will know, why would I tell this person this? But in the moment, in the time, you were in a sort of trance, and you were in this dance of, you're being so open and you're being so honest. Like, who am I not to meet you or mirror you on the same level? And that's how they get you, that's how they trap you. And also, you'll find that when you argue, when you have your first argument or disagreement with a Fed friend, you're going to be very surprised, because that's when you're going to see just how much attention they were paying to everything you said, and just how much they listened to how much of your very private and personal information you told them. The first argument, or the most heated argument that you have with a Fed friend, they're just going to lay all out on the table. They're going to say everything. They're going to be like, oh, you know, now I know why like 5 years ago or like 15 years ago your childhood best friend dished you. Yep, you see, it's because of these exact behaviors that you're doing right now, you know. Or, oh, you know, this is like that time when, you know, you had that argument with your mother and you're being really combative with her. You're being really combative with me now. You know, they will find ways to leak the information that they've received about you or gotten from you towards your detriment. It will be weaponized, basically. That's why I call this person a fed friend, because the private and personal information you give them is later weaponized. You have to realize, if you meet somebody who doesn't really respect their own personal boundaries, or they don't really respect their own privacy, what on earth makes you think they're going to respect yours? And a second way that you can recognize a fed friend is they will have no boundaries when you take them out in a social setting. So don't think it's just limited to you. Don't think you're the only one who this person divulges their most private and personal information to, because you're not. You're not special. Neither is their information. That's why they give it out so readily. You will find that, and also they usually lack boundaries when it comes to recreational substances as well. So a fed friend might be the friend who gets absolutely crazy, belligerent drunk on a night out, to the point where everybody's looking at you guys now and you have to explain yourself and you have to explain them, and you kind of have to do the whole I'm sorry about my friend thing, you know. That's another way that they draw information to you, and they give information about you away without you being open to this information being given. Whether we like it or not, people are always clocking us, making judgments about us, assigning us to certain roles and pathways depending on what we show and what they see. And usually if you are somebody who's rolling around with a fed friend, it's because you also lack boundaries. That's how this person gets in. It's like a federal agent, you know, you slipped up in some way, and if they're looking for you, you allowed them to find a lead to be able to get a warrant for your arrest, or to be able to, you know, hound down and catch you, basically. So yeah, the information you will be giving out to yourself, about yourself, to the wider world or wider community is, I'm somebody who doesn't really have boundaries, or I'm somebody who does not really have strong principles, because I'm with this person who's completely let themselves go, and now I'm responsible for them, and everything they do is sort of on me. You've got to understand yourself as the prize. And when you're out, you know, people are gonna size you up. They're gonna say, are you really a prize? Who you with? Who did you come here with? What are you doing? What are you wearing? You know, like, are you really a prize? Who are you? The people who you surround yourself with, they also give an indication, they also give a message of who you are. All these things. And a fed friend, okay, so they might have substance abuse issues, so they might get so belligerently drunk or high or whatever, and now they're just word vomiting with all of the guests at the place. You know, they are telling private information, they're saying inappropriate jokes, they're saying inappropriate things, and this is where you have to watch out for a fed friend, because usually when they're belligerently drunk, now it's not only their information they have access to, it's your information also. So what you'll often find is fed friends say uncomfortable things about you that you do not wish to be said. Okay, they might bring up past things that you don't want to be brought up to a stranger, or they may make comments about you, something you've told them in confidence, something you're a bit insecure about. They will bring this up. A fed friend will use you in conversation. Okay, you think of these people a little bit as empty shells. They don't really have a lot to say, they don't really have a lot to talk about. So if they want to make conversation, and if they want to stop being socially awkward momentarily, what they're going to do is they're going to use you. They're going to bring you up in conversation. They're going to make you the center of conversation. They're going to make you the topic of the conversation. Why? Because it takes the heat off them. A fed friend is extremely selfish. Don't get it twisted, because they might want to be around you 24/7, and they might ask you 100 questions a minute because they want to know everything about you. This person is very much for self-serving. The information they want is for self. That's why also you'll usually have a fed friend who relies on you way too much. Basically, everybody who they've tried to get close to have realized that they're like a fed, and that their information is not safe with them. People who do have secure and safe boundaries will probably run for the hills. So yeah, a third friend typically finds themselves a little isolated, a little left alone. So they tend to cling on you for dear life and rely on you excessively. And they will try and make this reliance or overindulgence in your energy seem like it's about this die-hard friendship or die-hard bond that you have. But you have to sort of sit down and be honest with yourself and think, if I really had a die-hard friendship with this person, would I always feel like I need to remind them of how to respect my boundaries? Am I in this friendship because I feel sorry for this person? Am I in this friendship because I subconsciously feel like I can't find a better one? You kind of have to sit down and ask yourself some of those questions so that you can answer them for yourself. And lastly, I would just like to say, if you find out that you are the fed friend, don't feel terrible about it. It probably just means that somebody violated your boundaries also in childhood, and now you need to learn a little bit about boundary control. What you need to do is sit down and become honest with yourself about your ability to exercise self-control and self-awareness, and also take a note of some of the negative things that people have said about you in the past. Not to beat yourself up about it, but just to become a bit aware of how other people may be perceiving certain actions that you do, because this will sort of give you a framework to know what you need to work on. And as always, if you want to message me or check in with me for a session to help with any of the issues discussed, you can hop in my DMs and do that, or you can email me at cindy@hotmail.co.uk. Bye, loves.